Well, I'm here with Anthony from Winchester. What's a bit of the history about Winchester?
The history of Winchester is obviously it's a very old, well-known brand. I think the brand itself is going to be around 150 years old. It's been in existence. The founding, Oliver F. Winchester, I think it was only a few years back, he would have been 200 years, so he was the founder of where we are today. But for Winchester, Australia, which obviously from the direction we're coming from, Winchester Ammunition, Winchester US, decided back in 1966 that they needed something here in Australia for this area of the world, I suppose. So from 1967, Winchester, our manufacturing facility in Geelong, commenced. And obviously it's evolved quite a bit over, some good, some negative, with all the issues we've had in Australia. But currently we're holding a workforce of just under 70 personnel. So obviously a major majority of those are in our manufacturing facility, as well as our obviously administration and sales staff out on the road.
Excellent. And you've had a new round out, the 17 WSM. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, the 17 WSM, which obviously is developed by our parent company, is well, they've touted it as the world's fastest rimfire, which obviously from all reports and the limited exposure we've had directly here, it certainly fits the bill. It has become very popular in the US. We've had small quantities come in, and I believe there's 1 or 2 different firearms now available for the Australian shooter. So there certainly will be some exposure out in the market at the moment. It's still very new for us. Ultimately, it's close to 12 months old now, I suppose. It was released in the US. Unfortunately, we do have to wait our turn to get it out of that US market. And obviously that market at the moment's under high demand. So flow heading our way.
Everything's a bit slower.
It's a little bit ordinary at times. But largely with our manufacturing capability, we tend to keep the Australian shooter going pretty well.
And do you reckon that will take off? Do you reckon that will ever be as popular as a 22 or something like that?
I don't think anything's ever going to be as popular as a 22. 22 is the benchmark that everyone's had, and everyone probably should have. The 17 WSM, it's going to find its place. It's going to be relatively economical to shoot. Not necessarily, if a lot of people these days don't have time to reload. So obviously there are some comparable small 17 caliber rounds that can be loaded quite economically. But this particular one is, it's not very far away from the level of performance of a centerfire round. So I think as the product evolves and we see additional firearm manufacturers adopting it, get a broader spread of firearms. But it appears it's an inherently very accurate.
Be a good little step between a rimfire and a centerfire, really.
I think if you're a rabbit shooter, fox shooter that was good at judging your distance, and 200 metres is a very long shot. This round I think would be more than capable of taking our rabbits and foxes, hares without a drama at all. And it certainly appears to be very accurate enough to place those shots quite comfortably at 200 metres.
Excellent.
I know the guys in the US with shooting the prairie dogs are stretching it a long way, but it's a slightly different environment where you've got plenty of time to set yourself up. But I think for the Australian market, like the 17 HMR, it's been a very good round up to 100, 125 yards. This is going to stretch to another 50 to 75 metres.
Excellent.
So it would be a good little round. We just need some more firearms out there to get the exposure.
And we've got a lot of new shooters with us. What would you suggest should be in every gun safe, and some advice for new shooters?
For new shooters, obviously, a firearm of choice to learn with is it'd have to be the 22 rimfire. It's a good base standard. It's cheap to feed. You can spend a day at the range, shoot 50 rounds, you shoot 500 rounds. It's no real big drama. And that's right. At the end of the day, it's economical, and a new shooter can learn the lessons. All firearms are dangerous if they're treated incorrectly. And obviously with a 22. You haven't got to worry about muzzle blast, heavy recoil. New shooters should start with a very low base. I think some shooters go straight to the deer hunting rifle without a little bit of exposure to what's involved. And shooting a 30-06 or something similar on the bench for the first time, it can be a bit of an experience.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
But from my point of view, I think anyone that's getting in, certainly if they've got an older peer or parent or whatever the case may be, going to the range or on a private property under supervision and plinking around with the 22. There's numerous, even this facility here today, there's several manufacturers of plinking type targets which you can't
Perfect,
beat that.
can't they? Yeah.
Get out in the arranged environment where you're safe and there's no one around to concern yourself with. You just spend an afternoon plinking with 22 ammunition, and you get your skill base and knowledge and safe handling of a firearm.
Excellent. And what's a bit of your history of shooting?
My history, I've come from a farming background. I grew up on a farm in northeast Victoria.
Yep.
And being a country lad at the time, moved to Melbourne and did the apprenticeship as a toolmaker. So I'm a toolmaker by trade.
Yep.
My shooting, I suppose I'd call it, because I try and distinct between shooting and hunting. Being from a farming background, you tend to frown on anything that eats grass that's not stock. So obviously a lot of spotlighting, especially with foxes and wild dogs, because we were sheep. We had sheep at the time, so obviously wild dogs and foxes were enemy number one, so to speak. And obviously back in those days there was some money in fox skins in my younger days. So things changed not long after that with the drop in the fur trade. But we've so from my point of view, these days I'm more. I like hunting my waterfowl. So obviously in Victoria we've just come off our duck season.
Did you do all right?
Yes. No, opening weekend for us and a few quiet shoots during the season was quite good. It was a quiet start to the season. We had a lot of birds in locally, but I think they shot through to New South Wales for about the first 2/3, and then our weather pattern changed and we started getting quite a lot of wet weather coming through. We're quite damp in Geelong, Melbourne area at the moment, so a lot of our game reserves are filling up with water and holding good levels of birds just for the season to end. So, but anyway, that's just the nature of it. But for the Winchester business, a lot of people shot Winchester steel ammunition, and this was the first year that we had a locally produced Winchester steel shot.
Oh, excellent.
So we've partnered with the Field and Game. We've got what they call the Wet Trust, which is their accumulating funds, fundraising and all that, to purchase wetlands. So obviously looking to conserve waterfowl hunting and looking after wetlands areas and that.
For the sport.
So they've developed this what they call the Wet Trust through the Field and Game Australia. And with the ammunition that we developed here, obviously purely for hunting waterfowl, every case of that ammunition that was sold was a $5 donation went into the Wet Trust. So and we put the logo of the Wet Trust on the product. And for us, that was received very well. It's a good performing product. We certainly got some rave reviews, and obviously that then generated some funds to go into this Field and Game Wet Trust. So another little, shooters conservation program to help maintain and sustain.
Good sport,
So, and then outside of that, I do try and sneak back up into the high country and try and either head up and back into the northeast of Victoria, where there's quite a lot of fallow, and you're allowed to shoot on private properties these days for that animal. So it is quite comfortable. Easy to go and knock one of those over and put some venison in the fridge. But sneaking up in the high country to chase a sambar, I haven't been up there for a lot of years, but unfortunately working weekends like this and then having a young family at home, it tends to the frequent hunter points take a while to build up. So
very good. Well, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thanks, mate.
Really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
Cheers.